I'm just gonna make a
Hey,
note.
here we are. Oh, you haven't done this.
Hello.
You haven't done
I
this
have
before.
not. I have not done this
Okay.
before.
Hey, everyone. Welcome. This is the beginning of our week of E3 Fireside chats, which is what I just decided to call them because I had about 2 minutes to decide what we were going to call these. So that's what this is. My name is Brendon Bigley. I'm from a website called awfulbit.com. We just launched it about 2 weeks ago, and it's going very well. Thanks for asking.
I'm Chris Morris. I'm also from Awfulbit, and we just watched the Bethesda showcase, which was really great in a lot of ways.
And the Nintendo World Championships,
Yes,
which I don't want
you
to
watched.
skate over.
Yeah, you watched more of it than I did. I kind of just caught the last, I think, one or two levels before it was done.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah,
And did you
I
watch
only
the
saw the
Smash
very end.
Brothers Nintendo Direct this morning?
No, I missed that.
Okay. It was all like known quantities. It was all like stuff that, everyone was
Oh, but is
pretty.
that where all the Ryu and Roy stuff came from?
Yeah, which that stuff leaked like a couple months ago, like kind of, and then
Mhm.
yesterday it was like the videos came out. They were like, okay, this is really happening.
Yeah.
So for the most part, it was like known stuff. They added a couple things. They added like some older stages. They added Hyrule Temple from the N64,
Oh,
which is cool, and
that's
Dreamland,
nice.
which is back, and has been in every Smash game so far. So that's just cool that,
Yeah.
Dreamland is back. But yeah, so they have Ryu now from Street Fighter, which is interesting. His controls work the same way they do in Street Fighter. So there are actual like button combos, and like you have to like half tilt the stick and stuff to like do certain moves.
What?
Yeah. So basically, Shulk is now the second most complicated character in the new Smash.
Oh my god.
Because I don't know why anyone would learn that. But anyway, so there's that, and then there's Roy. Roy is back. Roy,
Yeah.
another Roy. I saw a tweet earlier today that said, that Smash Brothers. How is it? Smash Brothers is getting big when there's so many characters that two of them are named Roy, which I love.
Oh god. Wait, who's the other one?
It's one of the Bowser kids.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Is also Roy.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so there are two Roys now, which is good. I mean, I wonder if they just like reused the announcer being like Roy, like could just use the same one. Or if they made
I think it's a different voice. I think they did a different voice between Melee and Brawl.
No, I mean for both Roys in this game.
Oh,
like, because they already had one in. I wonder if they just reused it.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was like a maybe I want to say 15-minute event. It was like very short. It was cool.
Oh, okay.
All the stuff came out today. That was like the big exciting thing, and I think that's the thing that we're going to be seeing a lot at E3 this week. Is like this is available today. I'm not really sure like where that's going to come from. I think Nintendo's going to do it a lot, and I mean, we obviously just saw it in Bethesda, which I'm very excited about. I have my iPhone at the ready to download that game. But we'll get to that. So the next thing, I guess the first really big thing that I want to talk about was the Nintendo World Championships, which the best dialogue I've seen about it was that I think if the Wii U had been selling gangbusters, we wouldn't see something like this. Like this is a move that Nintendo makes when their back is against the wall and they need to like really instill faith in their system, so showing off like all the Wii U games and making
So tell me more about what happened. And I know that's usually a thing like tell me more, person who this is actually like I only saw the last 15 minutes.
But you actually haven't seen
saw
it.
the last 15 minutes, so please inform me.
Yeah, I didn't watch all of it, but I saw a lot of it happening on Twitter. I mean, they just played a lot of games. They would play like Balloon Flight, and like whoever could get whoever could pop the most balloons in Balloon Flight like won that round. And they had some good competitors. They had a lot of speedrunners. They had Aaron from Game Grumps for some reason, which is weird because he was like, it's like going to a kindergarten and being taller than everyone else, and you're just like, wow, I never realized how tall I was until I walked into this kindergarten. It was just weird seeing Aaron being like so much older than everyone,
Wow, yeah. I was thinking that was like somebody who is constantly in the public eye and is like does comedic things. So
yeah, I mean that too.
He is the taller and not awkward of all of these people.
Yeah, exactly. I think the next most famous person that competed was probably Cosmo, I would say. Cosmo is like world record holder in many, 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 many games for speedrunning. And he also played Smash competitively, so it was just interesting. I mean, he really, to me, kind of does exemplify the like Nintendo World Champion vibe. So, you know, they played a lot of games. Reggie brought out Hungry Box. I don't know if you watched the Smash Invitational last year, but Hungry Box challenged Reggie Fils-Aimé to like a one-on-one this year. So they did that, and that was super funny. It was really good. You know, they talked a lot of shit back and forth. Oh, Hungry Box like wiped him out. It was
I mean, I'm not surprised, but
it was upsetting.
It was upsetting.
Yeah, I think Hungry Box specifically. I think he said, "For the president of Nintendo, you suck at Smash Brothers." It was like exactly what he said. And Reggie took the mic from him, and he goes, "Well, I spend every day running a whole company, and you spend every day playing a video game," which was amazing. It was such a good comeback.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, so that was cool. And, you know, but the kid that ended up going up against Hungry Box at the end was actually they had like. You could go to a Best Buy and compete against other people in Best Buys.
Oh, that was that thing. I think that was before Brawl came out, wasn't it?
Yeah, so they did that, you know, they did that forever ago, but they did that for the World Championships again this year. So you would go compete with other people at a Best Buy. Because they invited a bunch of people like Cosmo and like Aaron from Game Grumps and like all these people. But this kid, the kid that ended up winning the whole thing, was actually from one of these Best Buy things. He won at his local Best Buy and then won the whole thing, which is really cool, I think. He's from New York, if I'm not mistaken. He's from New York City. He's like in the New York Smash scene. I just thought that was fascinating. And it was really cool. You know, the end ended up being like a really big advertisement for Mario Maker, but it was like a better ad for Mario Maker than we would have seen if it was just coming from a press conference. And that's kind of like the thing I wanted to say about this. Was that I think this was the best way to start off E3, was just like getting a bunch of people who are just very happy about video games to play video games competitively and have like a very good time doing it. And it kind of like, I felt so much joy, as like cheesy as that sounds, watching these people playing these games, and like everyone's having a super good time. And like, it's not like, oh, we're pandering to the shareholders. Like, I feel like, you know, a lot of E3 is going to end up being specifically Sony, because I'm not super sure what Sony's going to do. And I don't know. And I feel like a lot of it is going to be like, well, the PS4 is still going strong, right, guys? And it's going to be like, yeah, it super is. What games are you putting out this year? The PS4 is going super strong, right, guys? It's like, oh, shit, they don't have anything. I think that, but anyway, we'll get into that when that happens, or doesn't happen. But
Uncharted, though.
Uncharted is big, I agree. But, like, you need more than one huge thing. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
Per year.
They're not. The Order didn't do nearly as well as they were hoping it would.
Yeah, I just remember
they were counting on that. Yeah.
I have a golden temporary Triforce tattoo. It's chipping off. This is so perfect. I forgot. So yeah, I just thought it was really nice to start off E3 in like a very humble. It was like a giant stadium of people, but you know what I mean. It was.
But the focus was not like, look at these giant things. It was like, here are some of our devs who made some levels, and here are the like best people in the world here to play them. Right,
exactly, and it was really nice. It was heartwarming, weirdly, to watch. And when Shigeru Miyamoto came out at the end, it was like really nice. It was really nice. Yeah. Like these two people who play his games obsessively in their bedrooms, like got to meet the dude and shake his hand, and now they have like 3DSs that are signed by him. I sent you that tweet though, which I thought was hilarious, which was like, this kid won. He's the Nintendo World Champion, and they couldn't even give him a new 3DS with a power cable. It's just so funny. Like, they should have given him the one 3DS in the world that comes with the power cable. I thought that was great. But I think there's a huge contrast, and this is what I think most excited to talk about. There's a huge contrast between how nice and heartwarming that was, and like how much it subverted the idea of what we know as E3, compared to immediately diving into Bethesda, and the first thing they show off is that Doom demo.
Oh my god.
I need
Oh
you
my
to tell me what you
God.
think of Doom, because I spent the whole thing, like I spent the whole time like live tweeting it, and like
Mhm.
immediately throwing up my reactions onto the internet in 140
Right,
characters or
right.
less. I didn't really talk to you about what you thought. So what do you think about Doom?
Well, well, here's the. So I started taking notes at a certain point, and
Right.
during the Doom section, and the first line of my notes is, "So, true to form, Doom is gross,"
Yeah.
which I don't. It doesn't play like it looks like it plays really, really well. It looks like the gameplay is very, very much Doom that at its core, like it is all the things that they wish they could have given you the ability to do in the 90s
Yeah.
that you
Yeah.
can now do, like ripping somebody's head off or
Hmm.
ripping their foot off and impaling their face with it, or just punching them until they explode, or any number of other gruesome, essentially finishing moves they showed off.
Yeah. Yeah. Specifically, like I watched that trailer and I knew, because I'm calling it a trailer because I didn't see anyone holding a controller on the screen. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of, it bothers me that this is how I go into E3 nowadays. Like after the whole Alien Colonial Marines thing and after Watch Dogs and all that kind of stuff, like I'm very skeptical. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm calling this a trailer, even though it was like quote unquote a demo. But
You could probably call it a gameplay trailer
I guess,
safely,
yeah, that makes more sense, I think.
because I don't think any of that was pre-rendered. I think there were too many things that were like UI elements and just simple things like ammo and health boxes falling on the
Yes.
ground. Like there was too much of that for it to have been not real.
Which is actually something that I want to talk about because watching that game, well, I'll go back to what I was saying. I watched it and thought this game isn't for me, but I get the hype. Like I
Mhm.
understand who this game is for, and those people are
Yeah,
going to be hyped about it. Like
yeah.
it looks like the most polished version of what those people want. It looks like Doom 1 meets Doom 3 in like the best way. And I love
Mhm.
Doom 3, don't get me wrong. But I love Doom 3 because it was a horror game, not
Mhm.
because it was like a
An
bloodshed,
action game.
yeah,
Yeah,
action game. And because I was very into horror games when Doom 3
right.
came out.
Guess you'll have
Um,
to make some levels.
yeah, I guess, right? Yeah. Which for people who don't know, people who are watching, Chris and I grew up together. We spent a lot
Mhm.
of time in the Time Splitters 2 map editor when we were younger. So I wasn't excited for Doom at all, and I probably
Mhm.
won't get it realistically. But the idea that there's a map editor for a split second, I was like, oh my god, this is like Time Splitters. I'm gonna get this game.
Yep.
And then it turned off again when I saw them grab a guy's head and then rip his whole body in two. I was like, oh, never mind, I don't want this.
Yeah.
But the thing that I want to say about this game is that they keep calling it fast-paced, which I found weird because a lot of the time they were taking control away from the player. I don't know if you noticed that, but there were a lot of instances where like there are 15 enemies around this guy, and he goes up and
Mhm.
there's like at least like a 2.5 second finishing move that they're doing, which
Mhm.
I feel like strategically when you're playing in a game that is fast paced
Yeah.
and a Twitch shooter, that's not good. And then also just even the idea that you have to like bring up like a menu to switch weapons and stuff, and like
I
you
don't
have to
know. I
slow the
thought
action down. I don't know. That
as
weirded me out. Specifically, the taking control away from the player thing was like
yeah.
that seems bad for the kind of game that you're making.
I think in all likelihood they were trying to show it off at every opportunity,
Yeah. No, I agree.
given this event.
Yeah.
But I could imagine very easily that that's the type of thing that if you do that when you're surrounded and like in an actual intense combat situation, you just get ripped to shreds. At least that's what I hope. I hope it's not a like original Assassin's Creed
Yeah.
counterattacks for days and everyone will just leave you alone while you eviscerate their friends.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. It's I don't know. I'm sure it'll sell gangbusters, because there's a market for that kind of
Maybe.
game.
I think
Yeah.
I don't think the market is as huge as
Mm.
I mean, any other gigantic first-person shooter. I think people who want that specific thing, and people who have missed that specific thing over this kind of, I guess you'd call it, generation of first-person shooters that are kind of more grounded in some kind of at least slight verisimilitude of realism, that to kind of totally eschew that and do something completely different, and something that is where first-person shooters started, really, is.
Yeah.
I think you have a lot of people who miss that and who want that. I've noticed a lot of games coming out tending to be on the smaller indie end rather than big time. What was that game with the ridiculous trailer you showed me? That was the commercial was like a 90s commercial, and it was super crazy. And yeah. So I've noticed a lot of those starting up, that people are trying to create that in the ecosystem, because it doesn't exist from big time developers.
Right. Yeah, you're right. I agree with you. I think that is definitely a trend. I think what's really interesting about video games as opposed to other mediums, and you do see this in movies, specifically someone like J.J. Abrams, who's replicating the Steven Spielberg movies that he watched when he was growing up, with movies like Super 8, harkening back to Close Encounters and E.T. and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
I think that we are seeing people, who were kids when Doom came out, now growing up and being able to make games, and we had this whole pixel art resurgence, like maybe like 5 years ago, probably. And I think we're going to start seeing these like low poly games. At least that's what I think we're going to start seeing. I don't know if you played Heavy Bullets. It was like a Paranormal Activity or a Tower of Guns kind of game, but it was like a very low poly, like neon 80s vibe, with like 90s graphics. It was really interesting. But I just think we're going to start seeing things like that. And that's why I think Doom might have an audience, is because people are looking, to see what a AAA version of that looks like nowadays.
There's a starved audience for that.
Right. But I will say that my Twitter feed was all people just like, this looks gross. Like, I don't want this. Which is interesting. I don't know. That might just be where the climate of consumer is at. But, all the people that I follow are press. So who knows? Right. What was after that? Oh, they announced, what was that game called? Battle something.
Exactly. Battlecry. Well, yes. So
Battlecrythegame.com, which I tried to go on to so I could sign up for the beta, and the site is down. So, yeah, and that was immediate. That was like as soon as they said the URL, I was like, "Oh, let me check it out." Nope, down. But anyway, it's looks like, what was that game we played on Steam? War of the Roses?
No, that was medieval, not medieval.
Chivalry.
Another word. It looks like a more stylized Chivalry.
Yeah, it looks like Team Fortress Chivalry.
Except it doesn't look stylized enough
to be Team Fortress, and it doesn't look realistic enough to be Chivalry.
Yeah, they're in this weird in-between place, and they kind of need to just
go on.
They need to totally bite the hard, because they had those moments of. They had those like Tarantino-esque, like single shade, like this is this person with like the hard ink lines.
Like they were announcing a new Smash Brothers character.
With that,
100%,
or else they're going to be in this weird medium place, and it's never. So Battlecry, from what it was a very weird showing that they had. It looks like a third-person multiplayer class-based game. I don't even know. They didn't even. I guess because it's in a beta, like they assume people know stuff about it already, so they don't need to explain. But it just kind of, they showed this weird portions of gameplay, and we're like, "There's a closed beta that you can." Apparently,
but
it is available, but you cannot join in.
Right, there was nothing to sell anyone on why they should sign up for that beta, or what platforms the beta was out for, or like anything.
Which
was interesting.
It looked like it looked like them trying to jump in on the TF2 Overwatch,
which is actually a
Battleborn,
really good segue to the next thing I was going to bring up, which is
Bethesda's trying to be Blizzard.
It's the Elder Scrolls card game, which I'm going to call Hearth Scrolls from now until the end of time. I have no interest in playing that because I play Hearthstone already, and I don't believe that Bethesda copying Blizzard can be as good as Blizzard on their top game. I don't think that will ever, that won't work. I mean, maybe this game will come out and be innovative and interesting and fun, but
they can't. You can't wrestle away, especially a game that requires as much time and financial investment as a card fighting game. Like you can't pull that audience away.
Create one. Yeah, I agree.
You won't get what's the word? You won't get a turnover from Hearthstone people because Hearthstone people will stay with Hearthstone.
Right.
And I don't know. I don't think there's like a being that Hearthstone, if you like that thing, Hearthstone does that thing about as well as you can do it. So
exactly.
I don't think anybody. They're trying to fill a space that doesn't exist.
Right. Well, they're filling a space that's been filled already. They're like just stacking. Yeah. They're just stacking on top of that space. They're saying, "Oh, we're going to fill this in," but it's like, well, it's already full, guy. Yeah. You don't need to eat any more food. You've already had enough. Actually, speaking. There's one thing that happened during the Nintendo World Championships that I forgot to bring up, which is actually a weird analog to Bethesda copying Blizzard and doing this. Mm-hmm. It's that Nintendo announced a new game, a new IP for the 3DS. It's called Blast Ball, is what it's called. And I swear to God, it's funny because you and I are talking. You and I are the ones doing this video post E3 stuff, but it's basically Rocket League.
Oh my God.
For 3DS, but instead of driving rocket-propelled cars and playing soccer, which is what Rocket League is for the people who are uninitiated, and you should be initiated because it's going to be
so excited for it.
Yeah, it's going to be one of the best games of 2014. So go pick it up if you have a PS4. But it's going to be for 3DS, and instead of rocket-propelled cars playing soccer, you are essentially like Samus Aran, like a team of Samus Arans playing soccer. But instead of kicking the ball, you shoot it with your cannon, your arm cannon.
What?
Right, which actually sounds dope, but it looks aesthetically like too similar to Rocket League for me to give them a pass. I'm excited about it. Don't get me wrong; it's gonna be cool. I'm gonna put it on my 3DS. I'm gonna play it. It'll be like having Rocket League with me at all times. But it's
scratching that itch.
Yeah, it's just weird. It's just a weird thing for them to do. So moving right along, and Bethesda, getting back to Bethesda, directly after
Battlecry.
Battle whatever the game.
Battlecry was Dishonored.
Battle board in the game. They quickly mentioned Elder Scrolls Online, which is a game that I would love to love, but I'm going to
get it. Dishonored came first.
Oh, did it? Yeah, okay. Mm-hmm. I was going to save Dishonored for later because I want to talk about the two games that I'm actually excited about.
Okay.
I want to get all the stuff I'm not excited about.
That's fair. Yeah. No, that's totally fine. We were talking about Elder Scrolls Legends, so if you hadn't brought up the Battle Ball thing, I was just going to jump right in there. So Elder Scrolls Online.
Elder Scrolls Online, a game I want to love, and I think that you and I should play probably. Realistically,
it's free, so like we should.
Yeah, but it's not free.
I thought there was a.
No, it's the Guild Wars model. You have to pay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
just no longer subscription based.
Yeah, I might be wrong about that, but anyway, we'll fact check later, which is good journalism.
Say whatever we want. Check it out later.
Whatever. Flying by the seat of our pants. That is a game that I really want to enjoy. I played the alpha and I played the beta, and I didn't like it at all. But I think that game has a lot of potential. I think that it could, in the long term, be great because it feels when you're playing it a lot like an Elder Scrolls game.
Yeah.
And the problem that I had with it was that it felt a lot like Elder Scrolls game that was too big, which is I know a crazy thing to say, but there was so much space in between where things were happening that travel time was like just exhausting. And then when you finally got to the place, it was like, hey, can you do this fetch quest for me? I'll give you 15 gold. It's like,
if you go back all the way that you just came.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's 16.
I think long term that game will be great.
I think they are doing the Guild Wars model. $60 listed right now.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
I think in time we will both play that game and it'll be good. I think in like a year or two, if they continue supporting it, it'll be a good video game.
I watched a good friend of mine play a lot of it. He leveled up a character pretty far so that he could do some of the end game stuff. And I think the thing that got me most excited was that, so on two things about Elder Scrolls at the same time. One, they do the thing that I hate MMOs doing, which is like being an MMO but still doing the Chosen One storyline, which is just the dumbest, because you literally watch people run into the same dungeon as you, pick up the same thing as you, and leave. Like, you watch multiple people. You can sit in a dungeon and see multiple people doing the same exact thing.
Yeah.
So like, instead of embracing the idea of you all being like just slightly more powerful individuals than the rest of Tamriel, they turn you into just, it's dumb. Meanwhile, however, they eschew that entirely and have created this sort of like three-prong PvP element, which is amazing, because you have all these crazy superpowered Elder Scrolls people like doing castle sieges against each other. And
that's really cool.
It's amazing. Awesome. There's like, you walk down the battlements and there's people shooting arrows and there's people throwing fireballs and other people like operating catapults. Yeah. And that's it's so cool. It's so awesome. Cool.
I had no idea there was an element. I'd love to play that.
So with each, I think two races belong to each.
Yes. That is correct.
Army faction thing, and then those people are the ones that fight, and it's really cool. It's great.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. So long term, we'll probably play that game
eventually. Yeah.
So moving right along, now we're in the two games that I am excited about. I should preface this by saying I played Dishonored. I didn't beat Dishonored, but got very, very, very close to the end of Dishonored. I did not
enjoy it.
No, I did not enjoy it as much as I wanted to. I played most of that game because I wanted to find out what everyone else loved about it. But what I saw was like sneaky BioShock. That was like, I don't know why. That was all I felt while I played that game. It was just like very sneaky BioShock. I did though, when playing that game, and this is a thing that we've talked about together a lot, which is that Assassin's Creed 1 was a really good template for a great franchise. And, you know, they've continued to improve and they've had their failings, but, you know, that's a thing that we talk about a lot. I think that Dishonored 1 was a great template for what will be, I believe, one of the best game franchises of all time.
Yeah, I remember you saying that more than once, being like, this game just makes me want Dishonored 2. Like, playing it, I just keep thinking, man, Dishonored 2 is going to be so good.
It's going to be so good. It's funny because Declan is next to me playing Splatoon, and I feel the same way about Splatoon. I feel like Splatoon is also Splatoon 2. Splatoon is going to fuck everyone. Splatoon is going to be really good.
Us before anyone else.
Someone at Nintendo already said it. You know it. They're working on it.
That's what they're gonna do. That's the difference between Nintendo and every other company.
Immediately, yeah.
No, they got promoted. They were like,
and their name,
that's a great idea.
And their name is Bill Trinan. Yeah, I think Dishonored 2 looks awesome. You know, give them props for showing off the female protagonist right in the beginning. That was super cool. I was really happy to see that twice during their conference, which was interesting. But we'll get to that in the next game. But I they didn't show off a whole lot of Dishonored 2. They didn't show off any gameplay. It was all just
Yeah,
like
it
a
was a
pre-rendered
cinematic
thing.
trailer.
But I really enjoyed the powers that they showed. So instead of just like a regular blink, it's like it's very similar to the Darkness. Did you play the Darkness?
Yeah,
It looked a lot like
I didn't think about
Darkness.
that, but I saw that. Yeah,
Yeah.
she kind of becomes like a corporeal shadow rather than just teleporting.
Which is dope. It looks super cool.
Yeah.
And I love the atmosphere. I love the environment that they're in, and like a weird like island, like Victorian island almost.
Yeah.
It looks really cool. I love the atmosphere of that game. I think it's really great. I think, you know, my favorite thing about the first one was that the controls were just perfect the first time. It was like there was not a single control issue I had with that game. Every issue that I had was like, you know, the way the quests worked or like the way the AI behaved in certain cases. And I just think, you know, next gen, do it better. You know, they already have the controls down. It's fun to play. You just make the story better and I'll be in it. So I'm excited. But anyway, the bread and butter. Well, what do you think about Dishonored 2? What do you think? Are you excited?
No, I didn't play a whole lot of Dishonored 1.
Are you gonna? They also announced a remaster with everything for the new.
Yeah, I
I saw that eye roll.
as soon as they were like, we have one more thing, I'm like, no, HD remake.
Yeah,
that. Of course, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. I mean, I probably will not purchase simply because from PS Plus I have Dishonored 1 on my PS3 already.
Oh.
For free, so I should probably just play it there at some point. But I'm playing The Witcher 3 too much, and like
that's a conversation for another day.
Yeah, no, other thing. Yeah. So I don't really know. It looked like a game that I would like a lot.
Yeah, that's how I felt watching that. Just like, oh, I'm gonna like that. That's basically it. I just was like, oh, I was just content in the fact that it existed and it was in front of my face.
Yeah, I mean, as far as new IPs go, I mean, it was definitely one of the more interesting and inventive things, especially having also seen the attempted revival and failure of Thief, which I think fills a similar similar niche.
Yeah, I think Dishonored was a better Thief reboot than Thief was. Right. I just feel, you know, as playing the first one, enjoying it a lot, being excited for the second one before they even announced the second one. I feel very similar to that as I feel to a new Pokemon game being announced, which is just like, I don't need a screenshot, I don't need a trailer, I don't need anything. Just announce that it's coming out and I'm going to buy it, realistically. I don't care. Just give it to me. I just want to see how it evolves. Pokemon's a different story because I'm horrible.
Brendon has the problem.
And I condone not doing anything but putting out the game anyway. But anyway, so the big, huge announcement, which is bundled as a couple different announcements in the Bethesda thing, was Fallout 4, which we saw the trailer for earlier in the week. But this was like the big announcement drop. I was very disappointed because since that trailer dropped on Monday, have been saying it's going to come out in October. I was saying late October. I was disappointed to find that it was like a week later than I thought it was going to be. It's in November.
Just so you can say I told you so.
Yeah, no, I'm glad it's coming out this year. I'm really glad. I was watching that last trailer that they showed before they announced the release date, and I tweeted out, like, as this was happening, I was like, is it just me or does this game look very close to completion? Like when they were showing off. There's so many things to talk about with this game. You are a huge Fallout fan.
I am a huge Fallout fan.
I'm not.
Okay.
I will be one, though.
Yes, you will.
I know I will.
You will. Okay.
This game fixes all the problems I had with the third one. But tell me, you start.
Okay.
You're the Fallout fan.
Let me just start out by saying that I forgot how much I love Todd Howard.
That dude's that's a cocksure motherfucker.
when Skyrim was getting all hyped up, he was like the lead guy for all of that material, and I poured over every bit of Skyrim material I could get my hands on, and he just is like this constant ball of calm charisma, and it's just amazing. Like watching.
He's hyper aware of how good the thing is
Yeah.
as he's making it and as he's
Yeah.
telling people about it, because he's making the games that he wants to play.
Right. It's easy to be the salesman of a thing that you love.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Which I think he does so well. Just on slightly tangential, like performance as a host.
Right.
Like this is what happens when somebody either one of two situations. He has memorized everything that he has to say, or he is just has it all roiling in his brain and is just able to rattle off whatever at all times.
Yeah, I mean, that was a very calculated
like,
press conference, but I felt that because he's the director of the game, he knows everything that's in it. You know, I know the thing was calculated, but I think a lot of it sounded very off the cuff, like he really just knows everything.
He was not like glued to the teleprompter or anything, and it was just like he's Bethesda's showman. He's like the consummate showman for all their games.
Yeah.
Okay. So, wow. I was very excited by like everything going on in that whole thing. So first of all, it started with a lot of concept art things before they kind of delved into the gameplay.
Right. It was just basically Todd Howard saying, "Hey, everything that you see, we've basically sketched out 15 times and decided which one was the best one, and iterated on it. And here are those things." And then we watched basically a PowerPoint presentation of concept art, which is fine because it all looks beautiful.
Oh my God.
I know it'll be in an art book that I get with the special edition, so I'm fine. Which I'm excited to talk about the special edition, but let's keep going.
So, okay. So for those who don't know, we grew up in New Jersey in the Northeast. So the idea of I think the first thing that hit me was that lighthouse that I was like, oh my God, that's such Massachusetts. And like the old harbor towns and the brick industrial buildings. What's so crazy is that these places some of them are already in ruin, now.
Yeah.
That these old industrial towns, the paper mill towns, all these big red brick factory buildings, and the art just totally evoked that, and I was like, okay, well, awesome. I know already what this looks like, and this is what it would look like when everything's been destroyed. Oh my God, the facial construction.
Yeah, it's so good.
Oh
it's
my God.
Good.
I
was just happy to see the like cliched Bethesda software like close up.
Mm-hmm.
They have in every game that they make, where it's just like, I'd like to give you a quest. They just have like horrible, like they just don't look human, which I just always think is so funny. So for them to be like, drag pieces of my face around, and then like he goes and like makes his nose huge, and then the girl in the back is like, oh, he has such a cute nose. Like, it was so good. Which is another instance where they're like, and of course you can play as a woman, and then they just swap places, which is great that they have dialogue for when they're switching even.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. That's just the attention to detail that those guys have. But
yeah,
it's really good. So instead
so
of
much better.
fighters, you're just kind of like dragging pieces of the face around, which I'm excited for the Polygon Monster Factory episode of that already.
I also wrote that down. It's like, I can only imagine what the McElroys,
the brothers McElroy are going to pull off.
What abomination they will bring into this world.
Yeah.
Man, it's just the logical version of the thing that they've been doing with value sliders for years.
I agree.
Like, come on. I loved I'm very curious to see how they're going to make the conceit of you were alive 200 years ago.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Like, vault, because that's very different from how they've done the other games.
What I find interesting about that is that it places you chronologically like way later than the other Fallout games, doesn't it? No, not that much later, but
No, because there was
like in between, like when you leave the vault in Fallout 3, like how long has it been since the bombs have gone off? Not 200 years.
A very long time. I mean, you are
Really?
I think you are pretty sure your generations removed.
That's
like, because in Fallout 3 you have this whole like father's legacy thing that you've got going on.
Yeah, you
and
gotta,
I think he
find
was born in the vault, like the father.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
I think it
might be similar then. Okay.
Yeah.
So you come out of the vault and it's been 200 years. Somehow you are yourself 200 years later, and you go out and you find your butler robot. Crazy.
I love the like Commander Shepard Mass Effect dialogue stuff that happens now instead of like getting.
Oh yeah, you like that? I saw a lot of people on my Twitter feed that were like super against that. I was like, what are you talking about? That sounds awesome to me.
I think there are people who are like
people they really want Fallout.
Understand Fallout
yeah.
as the silent protagonist who you impress yourself upon.
Yes. I think
giving that person
an interesting way of impressing yourself on that person still, I believe. I enjoy having a set number of options to choose from, and I enjoy seeing like my favorite thing that they do in Mass Effect and they're doing in The Witcher, and it looks like they're doing in this, is where you pick an option and that's not exactly what they say, but it's tonally similar, which I always really like. It's like, okay, so you're picking the basic idea of what they're going to say. That's really cool. I think it's fascinating that this was like a weird off-the-cuff thing that they said, but they recorded 1,000 of the most popular names in the world.
Yeah, they just kind of like threw that out there.
For the robot to say to you, which is like, okay. I'm wondering if Brendon is going to be there, because that's, I wonder if I make the top one. I might be 999. Like I'm not. I feel like I might be like really low. So we'll see. That'll be interesting.
Yeah.
If anything, I'll get to see what the weird dialogue option is for when your name is not one of the top 1,000. But that looks super. I mean, it looks beautiful. It's fascinating. So the reason that I never really liked Fallout 3 was that that game made me very sad to play. I am a very big fan of the Elder Scrolls games. I love the beauty of those worlds, and I think they're fascinating, and fantasy lore is great. But Fallout always felt like a game that I should really enjoy because I love the music, and I love the Art Deco style, and I love all of this stuff, and sci-fi and whatever. But just exploring a world that was that gray and brown and green just like upset me, and it made me, I didn't feel like I was in a world that I wanted to be a part of. I just wanted to leave, basically.
Yeah, so,
I didn't play Fallout 3 for that long because of that.
And that's really interesting because in a way that means that they succeeded at what they were doing.
I know, that's the best part. That's
like that they crafted a world that is so desolate, abhorrent, and so like hostile to every individual that you literally chose to be somewhere else.
Exactly. I mean, they really did nail it. You're super right about that. But this game is, colorful and beautiful, and I'm excited. I'm excited to explore that world. I think it's gonna be great. Like, fucked up Boston. Sounds awesome. Let's go check it out. So the craziest thing that they announced, personally, I think the craziest thing that they announced for Fallout 4 was that the special collector's edition comes with a real ass Pip-Boy that you can put on your arm. A Pip-Boy, in case you haven't played Fallout, is like basically your menu. So what happens is like when you press start, like it brings up a thing, and it's like a little screen that's attached to your arm. Not even little. It's like
they reference to it as like a smartwatch.
A smartwatch. Oh my god!
When Fallout 3 came out, was not even a thing that was on anybody's radar as far as current technology was concerned. And they're like, "Yeah, this is like the precursor to smartwatches."
Yeah. Like, oh my god, you're right. You did it. You guys did it. But what's great is that you take your phone and you put it in, and then you download the Fallout 4 companion app.
Yeah.
Which is weird and funny that they're making a companion app for it, and even Todd Howard was like, "This is the best, dumbest gimmick that exists in video games," which I agree with, and that's why I'm excited about it, is because
so awesome.
we're all on the same level about how stupid it is, but we all want it. So you put
Mm-hmm.
your phone in, and you can control your stats and stuff from your phone on the Pip-Boy in the game. Like,
Yeah.
dumb, really dumb, but we all want it.
Yeah.
It'll be
Yeah.
one of the best-selling collector's editions of all time, I think. For
Oh
video
yeah.
games, like that's
Oh
gonna
yeah.
kill. It's gonna kill. Especially comes with the art book with all that concept art that they showed in the beginning.
That you're gonna buy no matter
Yeah.
what.
But I'm gonna buy that. That sounds great. I'm excited about it. I think it'll be super cool. Are you gonna get that? Do you think?
Probably not. I don't know. I'm not.
Oh
I'm
no!
not
Now I
one
feel
for.
I feel goofy.
No. I'm probably. I don't know. I'm not one for the big collectors things.
I'm not either. This
Um,
is just so stupid that I want it. It hit that crucial level where it's like peak
Yeah.
stupidity and peak functionality meet.
Right.
It's like, I'm doing it. If it was any stupider or any less functional, I wouldn't.
Mm-hmm. The optimal shark jumping.
Yeah. This is they just this was like the shark jumped and just nibbled off a big toe, which is
Yeah.
what I need. Because if I was able to jump the whole shark, then like
Yeah. Then what's the point?
yeah. So I'm gonna buy it. That's crazy. And then the whole like crafting, the whole like base crafting.
Oh my god. Okay, so
There are a couple elements to this base.
there's a
crafting
lot
game.
of stuff that they included here, which is kind of incredible. So there's the one simply like creating your shelter, which I think they took the cue from Skyrim, where they did that Hearthstone.
Oh yeah, which I didn't play.
Expansion. I didn't either, because there was already like a million PC mods that did
Right.
home building better. So
Yeah,
what was the
exactly.
point?
Yeah.
Which I wonder how they're gonna do mod tools for this, because they're gonna release something.
Yeah, it'll probably be Steam Workshop again, right?
No, but it's their own. That's a way of distributing it, but it's their own creation kit. That's what it was called for Skyrim.
Oh yeah, you're right.
That was what the tool kit was called.
It'll probably be like a next gen version of Creation Kit.
Yeah, probably. I just hope that they do it, because I know that as games get more complicated, it gets more difficult to
implement those kinds of things. Yeah, especially when you have this many
those tools.
Yeah, when you have this many systems working against each other.
Okay. So here's a bunch of things that is like slightly deeper. What would that be? Gameplay functions? I don't know. Features, maybe? Who knows? So first of all,
box quote catalysts.
Yes, precisely.
Yeah.
The layering of armor is an amazing thing, because the Fallout world is so varied, and there's so many different ways of making your character look, which they showed in that funny little montage of the guy and the dog, where he's like dressing up as all these different things. But something that would happen in Fallout 3 is that you get your hands on some power armor, and that's what you wore forever.
Right.
You didn't. Yeah. You just looked
got the power armor, and then you did it. You won.
And then you didn't do anything. Which power armor I have to talk about as a whole other thing, because that's. So here they show that you can put armor pieces on top of another outfit, like on top of like the clothing and the armor are separate, which I think is a really, really brilliant way of handling character customization, so that, because in a game like that, which is stat based, but it's also like it is more of a role playing thing than a multiplayer RPG.
Exactly. This is
having everybody look the same
with Destiny.
Yeah. Having everybody look the same is dumb, because then you have to wear that thing, and then you're like, okay, well, now I just am wearing this armor so that I don't get killed by death claws.
Yeah, of course.
But the fact that it looks like you have a little more freedom with that, which I think is really cool.
I do
So
like that they've given weight to all the random shit that we pick up. You know, when your inventory is like a million fucking miles long.
Yeah,
and
using
the one
junk
thing.
to craft items is a really cool thing, and that it's multiple things. It's not like you have to find this specific thing. It's like if you have one of these kinds of things, or like one of these kinds of things. Or like
Yeah, that was fascinating. They were like, well, to make this scope, you need like these screws, and these screws come from typewriters, and they come from you know, like monitors, and they come from like all these different, like, you know, just a whole list of things, and then you can, you know, break them down into their parts and make cool shit. Which is, it's really what I find really interesting about this, and as I'm hearing about it, like, don't get me wrong, I'm very excited for Fallout 4. I think it's gonna be awesome. I'm gonna get it. It's gonna be awesome. I'm gonna have the Pip-Boy on my arm, but I do worry that, so there's this, and then there's also the like base building thing that they've announced. I do wonder if this is getting to the point when there's too many things happening.
I don't know, because
where like I'm not gonna want to get, like, I feel that way in The Witcher a lot of times, where it's like I think we talked about this, me getting better at The Witcher is me understanding the systems of the game more, not me getting better at combat or getting better at like exploring the world. It's like me understanding that this menu does this now, you know? And I'm wondering if Fallout 4 is going to feel that way, where it's like I'm going to play through half the game and not even realize, like, oh, there's this whole menu over here that I could have used to do this thing to my gun or to do this thing to my base, and that's why I'm having such a hard time progressing. It's because I've never seen this.
Yeah. I mean, I think on that, Bethesda has always done a very good job of, if not elegantly always. I know people had a lot of issues with the Skyrim menus, and there were many mods to make it better. But
yeah, true.
I think they've always done a good job of telling you,
yeah, you're right.
Here's all the stuff.
You're right.
You can do a lot of things with the stuff. And we're not going to try and tell you exactly what all those things are, but here are the systems, at least at its most basic form, and you'll figure it out from there.
Run wild. Yeah, they do a good. You're right. They do a good job of tutorializing for the most part, where it's like you get the picture. Yeah. So that's cool. I agree with you on that. You know, you're gonna get Fallout 4. I'm gonna get Fallout 4. This is like a known quantity. Basically, everyone's gonna get Fallout 4. It'll realistically be one of the biggest games of E3 this year. It'll probably realistically be one of the biggest games of the year, and probably one of the highest reviewed games of the year, I imagine, because Bethesda Soft doesn't make bad games, and they've been working on Fallout 4 for somewhere around the span of 5 years at this point, if I'm not mistaken.
It's about 6, because he said they started right after Fallout 3 in 2009.
Yeah, it's been a very long time. They're not going to squander this franchise.
No.
You know, on the 4th iteration. It's not gonna happen.
The fact that they've put in what is essentially a like wiring system, a la Minecraft, is kind of crazy and really cool.
That's kind of where my fear lies.
That's going to be like too much.
Yeah, like I'm not.
But I think
get into
the thing that you can do, but I also don't know if that's going to be a necessary thing, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you can choose to invest your time in questing and adventuring, or in making your base into some kind of like fortress of missiles and machine guns forever.
A tower of guns, if you will.
Oh, hi, Ian. Also, Ian is watching. Brendon.
Oh, hello, Ian.
Yeah, I think it's a thing that I don't foresee them forcing you into it. I think they'll be like, you can make a shelter now.
If you want,
if you want to do that. But just the thing that blew my mind more than anything, I think.
Oh, I'm fascinated because I have no idea.
Was
what's left?
The gun customization was a really interesting, cool thing that is a totally new thing to the Fallout world.
Yeah, I thought that was awesome.
You can do more than just like cling cling repair stuff. Um, the power armor is actually like powerful, and it's not just like another armor set like anything else. It's a thing that you
it's removed from the idea of armor.
Yeah, it's its own larger entity, that it looks like you have upkeep of the power armor, and that it is this incredibly powerful thing that you have to use sparingly, that you can't use all the time. And with jetpacks, which is a crazy thing because you can normally only just like do a slight jump in the Fallout world. The fact that they've added a jetpack kind of blows the whole thing wide open. And
like, that just feels like a fuck you to Grand Theft Auto 5. But yeah, it's fascinating. I think the depth of that game is going to be really, really, really fascinating. And I love the idea of the power armor. And speaking of the weapons, just the idea that you can customize the weapons on that level and craft things and do stuff reminds me a lot of Borderlands. Reminds me a lot of why I really love Borderlands. It's just like the randomization of this. But I like the idea of being able to take control of that amount of content. You know what I mean? Yeah. Instead of just hoping for a loot drop, it's like, no, I can go out of my way to say, what would it be like if a sniper rifle had a noob tube attached to it? Like, sounds great. Let's find out.
Let's make it happen.
I'm going to go out and traverse the wasteland and find the thing that fits on that becomes that.
An undercarriage shotgun on a sniper would actually be really great.
It'd be really cool, right? That's the first thing.
Right? A shoddy sniper in one.
Yeah, exactly. So the last thing wrapping up Fallout 4, it's great. We're both going to get it.
Yes, for sure.
And it's coming out November 10th. So
yes,
get excited, everyone.
Yes.
The last thing they announced was a mobile game, which I'm not going to talk too much about. I'm going to download it. I'm actually working on downloading it right now.
My iPad right now.
Yeah, I'm going to download it. It's going to be super good. I don't know if it's going to be super good, but I'm going to try it out, and we'll talk about it during an episode of Super Brunch Forest at some point. Maybe not this week, but next week, because I want to get some time with it. Because I'm interested in the idea of these guys making a game, and the the inspiration that they were referencing, games like FTL,
XCOM,
and XCOM are all fantastic games that I love.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see
Progress Quest, which is something I've never heard of.
Yeah.
Had you heard of it before?
Old game, if I'm not mistaken. Hang on. I'm pretty sure it's old. Yeah, 2002 came out. Old. It's 13 years, I guess. That's old in tech years.
Yes, that is old in video game years.
Yeah, it is a game. It's called what is it? Fallout Shelter, which I just realized is just a phrase. It's not even just the name of that game. It's funny. Anyway, it's going to be free for iOS devices. As far as I know, I don't know if it's going to be out on Android, but they showed it specifically for iOS because they said they were working with Apple to make it happen tonight. So it would come out tonight on a day when apps usually aren't released, like big name apps like this. So that basically wraps it up. That's the first day of E3, which is funny because I didn't even know the first day of E3 was happening. I thought it was all
I didn't realize. I didn't realize today was the day.
Yeah, until I got home from the beach and looked at Twitter, and they said, "Hey, the Nintendo thing is starting." It's like, oh shit! And then I was watching the Nintendo thing, and someone was like, "Hey, I'm hosting the Bethesda thing in a couple of minutes." I was like, "Oh shit!" So here we are. But we're going to be doing E3 coverage all week, or every day there's a press conference, we'll have a thing like this. It'll be me and someone else. I don't know, Chris, if you're going to be around. I think you're busy a lot of the time. But we have other
if it's about this late, I should be able to be around.
Yeah, I think it will be, because we are East Coast. All of these things are happening West Coast. But anyway, my name is Brendon Bigley. You can find me on Twitter at Brendon Bigley.
I'm Chris Morris. I don't use my Twitter that much, so it's probably not really going to help you out too much.
Yeah, but we are from awfulbit.com. It's a cool website that exists, and you can find us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Tumblr at awfulbit on all of them. Lock down that fucking domain. So, yeah, we're out of here. Have a good night, and we love you. Bye.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Bye.